This is an upload of a video some of you have probably seen before, but it's definitely worth checking out again. The original was flagged for copyright, spitting in the face of everyone who enjoys my content and, of course, fair use itself. I'd like to thank a friend of mine, Mr. Silhouette, for his assistance in the recreation of this video. He's an excellent YouTuber himself and definitely worth a few minutes of your time to check out and subscribe. I'll leave a link to his channel if you want to pop over and say thank you for helping me with this copyright issue. So, without any further ado, the dramatic retelling of this story of the drag queen. No animals were harmed in the production of this video, except that one beaver who totally had it coming.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey Marsh, and I am a Vine superstar.
Hello, I'm the Satiritician, and I am an alcoholic.
I have 150 million views on Vine.
Oh well, that's super, Jeff. I don't really use Vine, but isn't that the platform where people make complete arses out of themselves for about 7 seconds? Yeah, you've really made it, buddy. Good job.
And I'm gonna talk to you today about being genderqueer.
Okay, you can try. Frankly, I was terrified this was going to be some kind of tutorial about how not to make your eye makeup clash with that attempt of a beard. Because, you haven't quite pulled that off there.
Here's what you need to know. Gender fluid. Gender whatever. Here's what you need to know.
Okay, so genderqueer and gender fluid are the same thing now. I do actually want this explained, Jeff. Because frankly, this stuff goes completely over my head along with a whole bunch of the world's greatest mysteries. Like G-Man. Who the fuck is G-Man? Sorry, a bit of a tangent there. I've already had a few.
You don't need to decide your gender.
No, you don't decide your gender. I agree. There are several staple factors in your life that you don't choose at all. You're born with them. Your species, your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, you don't choose these. The vast majority of the human population are happy with what they were born with. And because a few special snowflakes like you disagree, the rest of the world has to bend over backwards to accommodate how edgy and different you are. Fucking hippies.
You don't need to decide who you are.
Tell that to the taxman when raking in the ad revenue from your 150 million Vine views. I double dare you.
When I was 18, my father and I had an interesting conversation.
Really, if this is a coming out story and your father didn't notice how fabulously his son pranced across the room to tell him that you were gay, then I don't think much of your father in an intellectual capacity.
I had just come out for real to every single person, right? I had told some people before that, but...
Called it. Your father sounds like an intellectually deficient moron, and it's obvious to me the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But given you seem to be having so much trouble working that brain in your head, let me set the record for you. You're gay. You're a white, gay, human man. None of this gender fluid bollocks. That's it, just a gay drag queen who seems to make the bizarre choice of red nail varnish and blue eyeshadow.
When I was 18, I decided everybody, senior in high school, everybody needs to know. Told everyone. And I also shaved my legs for the first time.
That's great, Jeff. You know, professional cyclists do that too, right?
And if you've seen my Vines, you've seen me dancing and kicking my heels on Vine with beautiful, gorgeous, smooth legs.
I'm really glad I haven't seen your Vines.
Well, when I was 18 was the first time I did it. I came down from taking a shower and shaving. I shaved the whole way up to my armpits.
And then stopped when you got to the face? Fight the power, I guess?
In the shower, it took a long time that first time. And I came downstairs and I was wearing shorts and my dad said, "What's that?"
Strap in, boys and girls. This is gonna get good.
"What are those?"
"What did you do to your legs?"
And I said, "I shaved my legs." I was feeling defiant. And he said,
"You can't do that! What will the neighbors think? That's not what boys do!"
I'm going to take a stab at the dark here and say that you're pushing 40. And your father, who was probably around that age at the time, who grew up in a different generation and a different mindset, disapproved? Hold the fucking presses. I think it's worth noting that homosexuality was a crime at one point, and following that, a stigma. Now, given that older generation and that older mindset, couldn't he have just been looking out for his son? No, that can't be it. Obviously the guy who can't decide on his own fucking gender, despite it being made painfully obvious in black and white on his own birth certificate, knows better than us, obviously.
and I said, "I am me. I shaved these legs because I want to."
Given the attitude displayed there, your father would have been fully justified in putting you on your ass in my eyes. Just for being a disrespectful little shit.
And then he started yelling at me, and I started yelling back, and we were yelling, and then the whole thing escalated to violence.
I'm sure he suffered serious scratches and slap marks. I hope he was okay.
I don't want you to ever be in that same situation.
You'd be surprised how easy it is for the majority of people not to argue with their parents to the point of violence. You yourself said you were rebellious, or had an attitude at the time. So I guess the advice is, don't be a dick to your parents.
I knew then, as has become even clearer as the years have gone by, I don't need to choose a gender.
We've been over this, Jeff. Try and keep up. You don't choose, like your race or your species. Gender literally means the state of being female or male. You are a male. Don't tax that pretty little brain of yours by thinking. It clearly wasn't designed for that.
And I don't need to fight for whatever it is in my life that I'm choosing.
You just said you weren't choosing, so why are you even needing to entertain the idea of fighting for a choice? Try and keep your story straight, Jeff. You're just making yourself look even more stupid than you already do, which is frankly quite impressive.
I don't ever need to be aggressive. I don't ever need to convince. I don't ever need to argue. I know deeply within my bones who I am.
Well, given deep down you know who you are, wouldn't that be the choice of who you are, given the entire premise of this video was about how you weren't going to choose?
And that who I am is somewhere in between or outside or with both man and woman. I am a human being.
Yes, Jeff, you're a human. Let's wrap it up now, come on.
And I think we're all, to some degree, between, around, above, man and woman. We're all over the place because we're all human beings.
Humans aren't perfect, I'll grant you that. We all make mistakes, some more than others, but simply because you don't have a firm grip on who you are doesn't mean the rest of us don't. I know who I am. I like who I am. And I'll be damned if a drag queen is going to convince me there's some fruity, bizarre meaning to gender other than male and female. Gay, lesbian, bi, asexual orientations and nothing to do with gender. And transsexual is simply the transitional stage between the two genders, male and female. That's it. So, with all of this in mind, if you were going to become a drag queen, what would your Saturday night party name be? I'm personally considering Saturina. Get one of those hula girls with a plague mask fixed on. I'll put the answers that make me laugh the most at the end of my next video, and as always, thank you for your time.